Here we go, and it's time for another sprint zone. I'd like to thank this time, as always, Scott Pollia for his video and his telemetry, along with Byron Bestroll this time, who has provided his telemetry for this one. I guess I should apologize. A little bit of dirt on my lens. I'm not certain where that cropped up in the ride, but I was kind of bummed. I'm like, dirt off of somebody's wheel. But in any case, it is time to rock and roll. 8:20, and it is almost go time here. I'm sitting at the rear this time, and I don't really like doing that because it's just a lot of extra work. And so it's time to move up a little bit. There are some that are not concerned there. We got JC. No, he's not concerned getting his water bottle, and we have a look rearward. OG Ron Kennedy in the breakaway kit, along with Rick Lutz keeping him company back there. And it is supposed to be go time. And no one's really doing much. And you can look at my wattage, and you look at Byron's wattage, you can look at Scott's wattage. Nothing's really happening yet. Everyone looking to establish themselves. I'm not really in a great spot here. And I'm looking at Scott's camera because my camera, was kind of a little wonky early on. So we'll give a poly view for the first bits of this melee. And up on the right, you can see I'm having a nice little conversation with JC. He's looking happy, not too stressed. It's going to be a good day, and he's not too concerned. Scott coming up through the field on Ian's wheel, and we have Curtis Jensen moving back. Not quite certain why. Maybe it's a little bit too hot, but looking at the 30-second power, mine is now all of a sudden above 200. And this is probably because I think either Byron or somebody has gone to the front, making it hard. And if you look at the wattage, I'd be guessing it was Byron. And at this point, we have our first selection. And looking rearward from my camera, I see Mr. Jensen looking back to see if anybody is going to do some work to bridge here. But this would be a hard one. So it looks like it's game over for 5 of them back there. I can see Ian struggling a little bit there. Just moving the bike back and forth, trying to maintain contact. We got Scott easily on my wheel, and I settle in behind Danny. JC taking the wind out there on the right shoulder, and he is happy to be out there, but he likes to maintain closeness. And check out Byron. Byron's getting a little bit of a gap. It looks like no one wants to go with him this time, and I believe he is not on his gravel bike, which is going to make it painful for anyone who wants to get a toe on that wheel. Everyone's still settling in, and you can see my 30-second wattage has dropped to 50, as has Scott's. No one wanting to pick up the mantle from the man of steel up front. I'm still a little bit further back than I'd like to be. There's a shot of Mr. Lawyer there, fresh coming back from the steamboat, as he provided lots of sustenance for many of the athletes here that had attended that being Joel, etc. And now it looks like things are starting to hot up again as Byron takes to the lead again. Working hard here, and my wattage begins to creep up. Looking to the right there, it looks like we have Mr. Baum, who was obviously riding above his station saying adios. But I must say he is riding stronger and stronger each week, and I believe last week best 1 minute power. Byron up front, and we see the other legend on his wheel, Matthew Michaels, holding that, and he was probably one of the only people that would be able to maintain contact with him with any kind of comfort. Rearward here once again, Scott looking strong, and it looks like Mr. Lawyer's tacked on, and I am behind Danny, and at this point I want to get around him. He is what you would call swinging back here. He lets a little gap open up of maybe a bike length and a half, and then he closes it. And I'm kind of fast twitch. I don't like that. I want to not burn matches, and I want to keep it nice and steady here. So I want to try to move up. Byron coming off the front, and Matthew Michaels taking the helm. And here I'm coming here. And then you saw Danny just a little bit standing up. Would have been gapping people a little bit. So I'm moving up, even though it's costing me energy to be out in the wind a little bit. JC looking strong. Nice cadence there. Marcelo right in front of me. Nice smooth cadence. as everyone is still in contact and the second selection has not been made yet. Looking good here. I've got great position. Looks like Greg Kuchta, who's been riding extremely strong lately, up in the fray. And he's got a good slot that I wouldn't mind having. And as I said earlier, this is one of the reasons I don't like being in the back. Yo-yoing going on. It seems like it's subtle, but, when you're just looking to hang on and save a little something, throwing matches into the water just isn't worth it. And you can see in Scott's camera, there I am next to Danny, and I'm bleeding off watts, but it's better for me to keep constant wattage than to keep yo-yoing back and forth. JC looking strong there. And it's a nice line as the legend Matthew Michael still at the front, not asking for any help on this one. And this little grade here, I figure I'm going to move up on the right because I don't want to be yo-yoed off. And you can see in Scott's camera, Danny standing up a little bit and sitting down. And I don't want to be back there, which is why I am off to the right here. Unfortunately, my plans went awry here because Greg pulls off because he can't maintain contact. And I am scraped back. After all the hard work, scraped back to a place I don't want to be. I'm like, crap. And there is a breakaway there. And it looks like, I believe it is like Wolfgang up there with Ron Kennedy. And I believe JC. Yeah, it looks like, the big man now, Byron up at the front, giving us a little bit of a tow. Giving Matthew, the big man, a little bit of respite as the three up front try to organize. I'm thinking to myself, OG Ron is holding his own, but I don't know if he knows of the strength of JC. But in any case, those three up there have a little bit of a gap, and I am barely able to hang on here. The wattage doesn't look like I'm putting out that much, but my heart rate tells a different story, up to 174, which means I am way above my threshold, maybe even above my pay grade. But we are a ramming and a thumping. And the big man, the man of steel up there with Beast on his wheel, looking strong. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to get up and not be yo-yoed off back here. Heart rate now 175. And it is hard for me to be able to maintain contact. And now I see the gap opening up. I see Danny opening up the gap. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. Danny looks back to see if I'm there, and here I'm trying to go around. I'm trying to go around to make contact, but the gentlemen up front are just too strong. Dispatched. And all she wrote. Now, back to the Scott cam. Scott's up front looking strong on Marcelo's wheel, and Marcelo's got good placement as the big man, the man of steel, brings back the recalcitrants. They were not able to resist the man from Krypton. And indeed, there it is. Strong men up at the front. Matthew Michaels in the selection as Scott goes around. I'm certain they are tired. Scott has ridden coattails and should be reasonably fresh. Byron has done a lot of work, and he's still ramming and thumping and looking at his wattage there in the mid-200s. Almost 330 seconds, and he's working hard. His heart rate 170. Lots of work there. My heart rate 175, and I'm not even in contact. If I could have only been there. But in any case, things look good, and I believe, is that JC up front working hard? Byron on his wheel, yes it is. JC not looking for any help, hoping that baby Byron in that effort to close would be weary. And now it is time for Scott to pounce. I do not believe Scott saw the front at all, but this is good race tactics. Scott's heart rate beginning to rise, but I know from looking at his data, he's probably going to get this one. Out front for the first time and throwing it down 500 plus watts for 30 seconds. And you can look at Byron's wattage, nowhere near that. And I believe it's all over. Top of the hill, and looking at my screen, they're way up front, and I believe it is well done. Scott, well played as he crests the top of the hill and bests the best. That was good. Good work, Scott. And I guess you didn't really have any opportunity to go to the front because the big men were doing work. So well done. Next time, maybe try to get away in that break. Maybe if you were in that break, you could have held off the Man of Steel. But alas, a good win. And there's the thumbs up from Byron, who spent himself. And there's a man who's getting stronger and stronger every day. I don't know why he doesn't race. Actually, I think I know why he doesn't race. And that's a good thing. Nothing to prove. Nothing to prove. And he's having fun. In any case, everybody, a good time was had by all. Well done. Until next time, peace out.